welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
We are talking about Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 18, Episode number 16. This one was called Sunday Roasted. We start off...
I guess Shannon's the one getting roasted.
Yeah, she is. We start off with Heather getting Jenn to come back and talk after she ran out when Tamra was getting her hair done, and she went in and confronted her about her hiring a private investigator for Ryan. So Jenn says to Tamra, "You don't even have a soul." And Heather's like, "Well, that's not nice." And
I wanted Heather to just shut up. Like, just let them do what they're going to do, because just let somebody show Tamra up finally.
Yeah, I agree. The interesting thing about that comment was when Jenn was telling Ryan what happened, he said the exact same thing. He said, "She doesn't have a soul." She's like, "I said that same thing."
Yep. And they're right.
Yep. So then Tamra says, "We weren't in a good place last year. You know that. And I admitted it to you. We'd moved on." And Tamra still keeps maintaining that she did not do a background check.
But she continues to say things about Ryan.
Yeah.
Like, she brought something else up that she hadn't even brought up yet. It's like, what are you doing? You're still implicating yourself, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I don't know why she keeps doing that. I really don't.
She's not smart.
So Tamra says to Heather after Jenn leaves, 2 years ago, I was in the gym working out, and this guy came up to me and he said, "I can't believe Ryan shows his face around here."
Mm-hmm.
He was selling timeshares for another country. It was a scam. They were collecting HOA money, and they weren't even building them. People went to jail for it, she said.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's still spinning tail. If that happened 2 years ago, it's over. And he hasn't been named in a lawsuit yet. He's not guilty, and nothing's happening to him.
Right.
So you need to keep your mouth shut.
I agree. I totally agree. And then she goes on to say, this was the other thing she said. Shannon contacted her about this because Leslie Bedore was named in the lawsuit and she wanted to know about it.
Her ex-husband.
Yes.
Leslie Bedore's ex-husband.
Oh, wait.
Was named. So David's wife's ex-husband was named in the lawsuit.
Okay.
That's why Shannon wanted. I mean, listen, you can blame Shannon for not wanting that information.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It wasn't about Jenn. She wanted to know what was going on the other side.
Right.
So Tamra said if she had showed the whole text thread, you would have seen that. And Heather says, she says to Tamra, Heather, no, let me get this right. Heather says to Tamra, "Jenn looks really good. I have stomach envy." And then Tamra says, "Well, she said a tummy tuck will do that." And Heather said, "Well, stop naming people's surgeries."
Right. She's so jealous. She really is jealous of Jenn.
She is.
I think Tamra probably was attracted to Ryan at one point, and he probably paid her no attention out of respect for Eddie, and she was his wife. But let's face it, Jenn looks, amazing.
Yeah, she does.
She's a gorgeous woman, and she got what they think is a hot guy. He's not my type.
No, not my type either.
But good looking and their type.
Enough. Right. And he's good to her, and he's good to her children.
Exactly. Like, they're making it work, and they were against the odds. But it's interesting because Tamra left her husband, and I don't know if she left him for Eddie. I think no matter what, Tamra was going to leave Simon, so Eddie was a non-factor. But you would think that she'd be so much more supportive. Like, I really think that shows that she is jealous.
Yeah.
Because if she weren't jealous of what Jenn had, why wouldn't you just support her and be like, "I'm really happy that this worked out for you"?
No, I agree with you. She just wants to stir the pot.
Yeah, and that too. She thinks this is being a good housewife.
Then we see Shannon. She meets up with Stella and Adeline. We find out that they took the train together from Paris so that they could spend Shannon's birthday with her, which I thought was so nice.
I liked when her daughter was like, guess who's legal in this country? Me. And then ordered a drink.
Yeah. And then they ask Shannon, how it's been going with the ladies. And she's like, well, the last few nights have not been good. And the girls are like, listen, we're 3 single ladies here in London. Like,
Mhm.
let's find some men. And, Shannon's like, no, she wants
Yeah.
no part of
No.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have at it.
Then we see Heather, Tamra, and Gina go to lunch. And Gina says to Tamra, that's not good. I saw the text messages about that she hired a private investigator. And Gina says to Tamara, would you do that to me? And Heather says, I don't condone digging either. Why do you think I was so mad at Katie? So now, once again, Heather has to bring it back to her. But when Jenn was trying to slam Tamara about it, she got her nose in there and told her that wasn't nice.
Right. Right.
Like, it just doesn't make sense the way these guys work with each other. It really doesn't.
No, and it's so funny because Tamra keeps blaming Shannon for causing a rift between she and Jen's friendship. But here we have the lunch where they're telling Gina about the Emily Heather thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then later we're going to see where Heather and Tamra are telling Emily about the Gina Travis thing and Shannon.
Yes.
So who's trying to fuck with whose friendships?
I
Tamra.
know.
And Heather, quite honestly, Heather's co-signing all of this, so she's just as guilty in my eyes.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is, again, like I keep saying about this show, we're seeing 2 different conversations happening with 2 different sets of people, and it's going back and forth, and it's confusing. I wish that they would stop doing this.
I know. But that's what Salt Lake and OC, obviously, because they have the same production company that's really lazy, quite honestly.
No, it's New York. It's New York and OC. No, New York and Salt Lake have the same production company.
That's right. That's right. OC has
Beverly Hills.
Hills.
Yes.
Well, they're all lazy then, because they're all doing the same thing. All they're doing is showing these girls talking about each other. It's like, listen, that shit was middle school. We're 50 years old. We don't want to watch this.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want to watch it.
I don't either. I don't either. And then, I was actually surprised after Heather said that about Katie. She just says, I can't believe what a liar Katie is. Because she's still maintaining that Katie was lying about the whole situation, when I really do think that it gets resolved at the reunion and it was just a misunderstanding.
Yes, but I think that Heather wants to establish Katie not being trustworthy because Katie brought the paparazzi thing up.
Right.
So if she can prove that Katie is lying about one thing, everybody's going to consider her a liar and not believe her about anything.
Right. And then Tamra feels the need to bring up, listen, I want to tell you something. I went candle making with Katie and her daughter, Kylie, and Kylie had watched Emily's Twins. And what Kylie's daughter told us when we went candle making together is that she was talking to the boys about the Housewives and have you ever met any of the Housewives and do you like them? And they said that Heather's mean to my mom.
She's bossy.
She's bossy. We don't like Heather.
Well, she is bossy.
But I mean, just hearing that story and then they play it back for us. Now we saw them doing the candle making. So why didn't we just see that then?
Exactly. Why would they hold it?
Right. There's no way in heck these 8-year-old boys are having this conversation with Kylie.
No. And maybe they said, my mom said Heather's bossy, because I could see Emily saying that. I don't think Emily's the type to talk in front of her kids about things, but Heather is bossy. And if she said it, she probably said it in jest.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just thought that because the look on Heather's face was like,
she looked like she was going to cry.
Yeah, like Emily's kids, why are they saying this about me? Instead of like, that wasn't really the point. And they're kids, they're 8-year-olds. Like, let's just say they did say you're bossy. Who cares? They're 8-year-olds.
And by the way, Heather, you are bossy.
Yeah. So then Gina's
like saying you have brown hair, basically.
Right. Yeah. So,
but that's Tamra bringing something up,
to throw Emily and Katie under the bus. Both of them. Yeah. She's trying to throw them both under the bus. And good thing Gina was there because she's like, listen, I know Shane and Emily and Shane would never talk about anything like this in front of the children.
Right.
And we find out later that they were made aware that this conversation happened, and her and Shane discussed it, and they decided, listen, Kylie's not watching our kids again, and we're just going to drop it. Let's.
Because obviously Kylie's the one who brought it up.
Yeah. And listen, I do think that Kylie does want to be on this show.
It's very clear that Kylie wants to be on the show. Very
It's
clear.
sad. It's very sad to me.
It's very clear that Katie has now moved from San Diego, leaving one of her kids up there, which whatever, he wanted to finish school. I'm certainly not mom shaming her or judging her parenting.
Right.
But she moved before it was a convenient time for her family to be on the show.
Right. I know. And I wanted to like Katie because I really like her dynamic with Jen. I like Jen and Katie together, but I don't like this stirring the pot.
Mm-hmm. Especially with kids, especially with Emily's kids. If your daughter's 18 and wants to be on the show, and it's like Gia, you have to learn to take the criticism though. You can't be on the show and be involved and then turn around and be like, why is everybody coming at me? I'm just a kid.
Right.
You got to play the game. But Emily's kids are 8 years old. They are not on the show very often.
No.
And they should certainly not be involved in any kind of drama.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally agree with that. And then we see Shannon says goodbye to her girls. All the ladies are going to go to dinner together. And Heather tells Tamra while they're getting dressed that they're going to have etiquette lessons. And Tamra's like, for me or for everybody? And Heather's like, well, for everybody. But I mean,
did Heather set this etiquette thing up?
I feel like she did. I really feel like she did. Because this was Shannon's trip. I'm sure Shannon did not set this up.
No.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Emotional Support Water Bottle. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. We're two besties who don't leave the house without their water bottles.
Every week, we're bringing you conversations about pop culture news, relatable real-life topics, and our random thoughts about the world today.
We cover things like Bravo TV recaps, breaking celebrity scandals, and Hollywood updates, and dig deeper on topics relating to navigating our 30s, dating and relationships, and keeping our work, social lives balanced.
So grab your water bottles and look out for new episodes every Friday.
No.
So
why does Shannon have so many problems with her stomach? I feel terrible. I wonder if she has anxiety.
Oh, 100%.
I'm sure on this trip, even if she didn't have prior anxiety, she had anxiety on this trip. Because Tamra clearly just went on the trip to ruin it for Shannon.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Emily walks in just as the etiquette teacher's about to start telling them what to do. And Emily starts yelling at Katie, I'm so mad at you. And she's like, you told me that those were going to work in 6 hours and they started working in 2. And Emily says, where's the bathroom?
She starts talking about poop pills. She actually says poop pills in an etiquette class.
Well, because Shannon said, oh, are those poop pills? Because I need them. I was laughing at that. The lady that's teaching at etiquette is just looking at them like, I'm sure she's thinking like, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, why did I agree to this?
Right.
She probably rushed it along.
So she teaches them that, which hand to hold your fork in and which hand to hold your knife in and never switch. Your fork hand is your fork hand and your knife hand is your knife hand. And you're supposed to be sitting up straight in your chair. Never have your back against the back of the chair because that's not good posture.
No.
No,
strict.
Yeah, that is better posture, but you know what? I'm sitting here and being comfortable.
Yeah, it's not very comfortable.
It's not. I'm not sitting up straight. I'm using the back.
Sit back and move my microwave. My microwave. I'm going to move my microphone closer. Oh my God.
So as she's talking about to sit back in the chair, they cut to a scene where Emily flips over the chair on the beach and fell on the ground.
That was so funny. That was so funny.
That was funny.
What they were doing with that, flashing to scenes of them just acting a fool. That was very good.
I love that. And then Heather asks if it's polite to point. And then we cut to the scene where she's, pointing at Emily. And she says, well, most cultures, it's impolite to point.
Yeah.
And then Tamra says there's too many rules. And the etiquette lady says, well, there's quite a lot of rules. And then Tamra in her confessional, she said, here's a rule for you. And she gives us the finger. I'm like, come on, Tamra. Like,
It's
can
just
you
trash.
just class it up a little bit? I mean, this is in a confessional. It's not like,
Yeah.
that was, planned.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
She's so
And then
trashy.
I don't what sparked the, disagreement, but again, she yells, "You're an alcoholic" to Shannon.
Yeah. Oh, but before that, I wanted to tell you. So Gina, in her confessional, now I thought that this was hysterical. In her confessional, she says, as a group, we're not very demure.
Yeah.
And we're not very mindful. And you know what that is, right?
Yeah. Where did that come from, that demure mindful thing?
That came from this person on TikTok. And like they blew it up.
Yeah.
And then people were telling them to trademark it. And then somebody else trademarked it. And they were trying to steal it.
Come
So
on.
yeah. No, but it's so funny. I mean, I think he got it back. I think he did get it back.
I hope so. People are
I know.
jerks.
I'll be honest with you.
It.
I know. I don't know if it was a he or a they, but whoever they are, I believe that they did get it back. But I just think it's so funny that
That was good.
Gina referenced that.
Yeah.
Because you know
Yeah.
what? I mean, Shannon couldn't have referenced that. Heather could have never referenced that,
No. No.
So then they go around the table and they start to say their pit and their peak of the day.
Oh, that's what it was.
That's where it starts. So Gina says, my pit was I had to wake up early to help Emily curl her hair. Emily's like, that was your pit? She's like, yeah,
she
because
was so offended.
I wanted to sleep in, Gina
Yeah.
said. Her peak was seeing Shannon's daughters. And, that was I thought that was a nice peak.
Yes, for sure.
And then Tamra said her high was the caviar. And Emily said, well, what was the pitch? She said that Jenn came to my room and yelled at me about something Shannon started. And that's kind of where it was. And Shannon says, I'm done with you and your lies. I'm done explaining. I have text messages. Tamra says, you're a liar and a drunk.
Yep.
And then Gina says, I would like you to stop saying that. It's her journey. It's her choice, which I was so glad that Gina said that.
Thank God Shannon has Gina there advocating for her, because it means so much, because Gina went through the same thing. And they had beef about it in the past because of Shannon's comment about, CPS. But I give Gina a lot of credit for advocating so much for Shannon with Tamra. Thank God.
I agree. I totally agree. And then Jenn jumps in and she's like, you need to stop Tamra and ask, why are you believing her? She said, in the time that I've known you, she's been more of a friend to me than you have. And it's true.
Yeah.
Because Tamra's only thrown Jenn under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
That's all she's ever done.
Yep.
And even if Shannon did ask about the private, detective, Shannon wasn't friends with Jenn.
Right.
She was asking about Leslie Bedore.
Right.
That's what her concern was.
Right. It is interesting to me, though, because, sorry to bring it back to Jersey, but Tamra came so hard at Louis for investigating. She was doing the same fucking thing.
You mean
Tamra was doing the same thing. Investigating.
You just said Tamra came so hard for Louis.
Yeah, Tamra. Back when her and Teresa started that big beef, when Tamra was making comments about Louis.
Okay.
Months ago,
Okay.
when Teresa still had the podcast.
Yes.
But she was doing the same thing. Nobody should be investigating anybody on these shows. Let Bravo do that. And by the way, Bravo, you should start doing better background checks, obviously. But let Bravo take care of that. It's for the cast to look up cast members' boyfriends and kids and shit like that.
Right.
I'm sure Tamra's got plenty in her past that somebody could bring up.
Listen, I mean, Google is one thing. Google's a thing,
Yeah.
You can Google people. That's it. And you see what you see. Some of it's true.
Background checks and looking up legal documents.
No. It's shady.
It's totally shady. I don't even like it when bloggers put legal documents out there. I know it's public record. I work for a law firm. I've worked for law firms for over 20 years. I'm not looking up anybody's legal documents.
Well, if you are, you're not putting them on blogs.
I'm certainly not putting them on blogs. I'm really not even looking them up.
I do like, if it's a case that's a public case, like this case, for instance, that the Bravo docket was, they broke it down, and they're lawyers, so they could give you the legal side of it.
I do like listening to the Bravo docket and hearing how they break down.
Yes.
But I'm not going to go read a pleading
No.
or a complaint.
No,
or an answer
exactly.
to a complaint. Like,
Right,
you
right.
know,
I'd rather hear an attorney, an educated person talk about it and
right,
just break it down that it's easy to understand, you know?
right. I'm certainly not looking up pleadings that my friends are involved in lawsuits.
No.
That's what
No.
I mean. And
Yeah.
that's what all these people are doing.
It's crazy. It really is
Mm.
crazy. And then Jen continues to yell, like, stop talking about Ryan. Stop talking about him being a bookie. You better effing shut your mouth. Tamara says, why? Is he going to put a hit on me?
So stupid. Well, he's not Tamra, but the powers that be might now. Because you can't keep your fucking mouth shut. Have you learned nothing from us? You say nothing.
So then after dinner, the ladies say that they're going to all go to bed because they have a big day ahead of them tomorrow. And Jen
Wait a
and
minute. Did we talk? Wait, did she tell?
well, they go to bed, but they don't. Then they break off and start talking separately.
Okay, but did we talk about Emily and Heather and Tamra being when they told her about Travis?
That happens later. It didn't come
Okay,
up.
sorry.
Yeah, no, that's right. No, it didn't
My
come up.
notes are confusing.
Well, because the show is confusing.
It really is.
The show is confusing.
Because I thought Gina said at that dinner. So was it the next day? All right, I'm jumping. Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must
No,
be.
it was the next day. Yeah, it definitely was the
Okay.
next day. So they go up to bed because they have a big day tomorrow. So Jen and Katie are talking about it, and they decide that they're over Tamara and all her accusations. Katie tells Jen how she's proud of her for standing up for herself, and everyone online is saying the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
Jen has found her voice, and good
Yeah.
for her. Then Shannon, Gina, and Emily are sitting around talking, and Shannon says, I can't thank you enough for helping me with that conversation because Tamara is just mean and cruel. And then Heather tells Tamara, you need to talk to Jen. Heather said, tomorrow take the opportunity to talk to Tamara. Shannon called last year before the reunion and said, we need to get Taylor's husband involved. He's an attorney. So that's what Heather and Tamara are talking about. We need to find out if Gina pushed Travis down the stairs. So that's what they're talking about after the dinner.
Right.
And
Okay.
Heather's surprised. She's like, what? Tamara says, yeah, there was an article that came out. And Heather says, are you going to tell Gina? Tamara says in her confessional, I don't want to hurt Gina, but if she's dancing with the devil, she should know. Meaning Shannon? She's calling Shannon the devil?
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. It's really
It's like
ridiculous.
a witch hunt.
It really is. So then the next
Don't you
morning,
remember when Tamara first came back on the show? She tried to do this to Shannon.
yes,
Tamara's first season back on the show, she tried to do this. And she was drinking a lot. Remember the scene on the boat where she was like screaming and yelling and she
Yep.
was drunk, and she
Yep.
tried to do this once before.
No, she didn't. Even when she came back, she said on Two Teas in a Pot, I was a real asshole. I was a real asshole. So we knew it before we watched it. And then we watched it and we totally agreed she was a real asshole. And she was blaming her behavior on her drinking.
Right.
Because she kept saying, I don't drink a lot, but I get so nervous, my anxiety, so I drink too much. Well, then maybe you're the one with the alcohol problem.
Right. Then don't drink.
Right. Exactly.
Some people just shouldn't drink.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree. So then the next morning, they're all getting ready to go to the country, and Shannon gets in the van, and all of a sudden she starts crying in pain that she hasn't pooped in 3 days,
Oh,
and
this poor woman.
she needs to get an enema. So the girls help her back into the hotel. Katie goes to get her the enema.
I mean, we have seen countless scenes of Shannon using colonic
Enemas. Oh, yeah.
enemas.
Yes, the colonic, right?
I mean, this goes back to the David Bador days.
Yeah, when she got it stuck in her.
Oh, poor Shannon.
I know.
Poor Shannon.
But honestly, that is what I like about Shannon. She's being real. This is really what she's going through.
Yep, she does put it all out there.
She does. She always has. She
Yep.
always has. Except for when she was being controlled by John Jansen.
Yep,
I should say by her ex, because we're not going to name him.
that's right. He we don't speak of.
Right.
Speak his
So-
name. We'll talk about him. We're just not going to name him.
So they're a little bit delayed, and we see Heather, Emily, and Tamara. They're walking around. They're feeding the swans. They're eating. I don't know what that pastry was, but do you know what that was that they were eating?
Yeah.
Then they sit down to talk, and Emily says to Heather, Gina told me you brought up my children. And Emily, in her confessional says that she's known this about a long time, which we did know that. And Heather said, I was so upset that is a bullshit story, and she's trying to attack my character, and I'm done with it. And she's referring to Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I mean, it really wasn't Katie. It was Katie's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And really the one who's attacking your character is Tamra, because she's the one who keeps bringing this stupid shit up.
Right. Nobody was going to know about it.
No, well, the thing is, that scene, did we see that on camera? Yes, we did.
Well, when they're doing the pottery thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not until they brought it up.
The candle making, when they're doing the candle making.
That's right, whatever it was.
Yeah, but it was filmed.
So the producers were probably prompting them.
Yes.
The producers were pushing to get it out.
Right, because we didn't see the Emily conversation with Shane. We didn't see that Emily knew about it until afterwards, but it was filmed. It was definitely producers pushing Tamra, and Tamra just takes the bait. She could say
Emily
no.
probably tried to get Emily to talk about it, and she was probably like, no, absolutely not. This is my kids. We're not doing that.
Right. So, yeah, Tamra is the only other one that could talk about it because she was there with Katie.
Right, and Katie's not going to bring it up.
No.
I mean, I would think.
I mean, Heather's already pissed off at Katie. Why is she going to bring it up?
Exactly. Right.
So then they find out while they're there, they get a text that Shannon's not feeling well and that, she's going to be a little bit late. And Tamara's like, probably because she knows that she's going to be in trouble later. And Emily's like, well, what are you talking about? She's like, well, it's about Gina. And she's like, is it bad? And Tamara said, it's about Gina. And then she proceeds to tell her about the text message that she got before the reunion and wanting to know if Gina pushed Travis down the stairs. Now, before we saw this episode, I had sent you that article that I had read about all the things that went on behind the scenes with Gina and Travis, and really the real reason that he moved out because what was going on with his ex. And it was bad. It was bad. And you know what? She made the right decision. Obviously, she did not want that on camera. It was not her story to tell.
Right.
She handled it perfectly, I think.
She did.
I think. And then Tamra has to come and put this out there. I mean, it's insane to me.
I know. Again, I think she thinks she's being a good housewife, but she's not.
Listen, even if you think you're being a good housewife, look in the mirror. You are being a horrible human being.
Right.
What is more important?
Yeah, like this story should have been buried. This Travis thing should have been buried, especially knowing that it had to do with his ex-wife that can directly affect his kids.
Right. And that she had been making all these false accusations and doing all these things trying to affect his custody.
Right.
It's just, when Tamra did that, listen, everything she's done to Shannon, I've been aggravated with. Then she's first she was going after Jen, then Shannon. Now she's going after Gina? I mean, come on.
Yeah, because you can't say these things and not think that this person is, people are going to have opinions now about this. People are going to know more than they should about this. The guy's still going through a divorce. He's still going through a custody battle. That's not your story to tell. That's not your place.
Right.
Shannon's a little bit different. Her girls are grown. But even Jen's going through what she's going through with her ex.
Right.
You're trying to paint this guy, Ryan, as a criminal.
Right.
And her kids live with him. What are you doing?
Yeah, because the father is not supporting them.
And I wonder if she's friends with the father. Is Tamra friends with the father? And is he the ex, Jen's ex? Is he pushing some of this? I don't know.
I don't know either. So all the ladies, they sit down for the English roast. I really did not think Shannon was going to make it.
No, me neither.
But she does. She shows up a little bit late, and then Heather and Shannon go outside to talk, and Shannon tells Heather about what Emily and Gina said about the conversation that she had with her in Sonoma, when she already made it perfectly clear to her that, I didn't want anyone to know about this bloody face picture of me. This I told you in confidence. I specifically said I don't want it in the group. And they play back.
They
Heather's.
flash back to Heather.
Yes.
And she says, we don't have to bring this to the group.
Right.
And then she brought it to the group.
Several times.
Mm-hmm.
Because this wasn't the first time, because Shannon told her, stop, don't talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So Shannon says, I didn't feel any compassion from you. And Heather says, I was so worried about you. And okay, were you worried about her though? I mean,
if she were worried, then I wouldn't have brought it to the group. If she were really worried about her, I would have gone to maybe one person that was closest to Shannon. But I guess at the time it might have been Tamra.
Yeah.
Well, no, not at this point, because Alexis had already joined the group, and that's.
Yeah. So then inside, Tamra now tells Gina that Shannon dug up information about you and consulted an attorney to see if you threw Travis down the stairs. And Gina calmly says, is that what happened? And I was so proud of Gina for the way she responded to that. Travis's ex-wife tells all these horrible lies. She told people that I beat him and that I threw him down the stairs. And I know that there was more to this, but I didn't keep writing. I didn't keep taking notes. But that's when she said, these are children involved in this. What are you doing? And again, she was very calm about it. And Tamra just doesn't get it.
No,
she doesn't get
Shannon comes in and they tell her what happened. And Shannon says to Tamra, you were so involved in that. You were so involved in that. And I totally believe Shannon. 100%. I believe Shannon in this moment.
I do too. And I'll be honest with you, I'm sure Gina believes Shannon too.
I saw Gina, I don't know if it was in a confessional or the after show, but basically she said, okay, so Shannon and Tamra may have both done these things, but Shannon is now working on herself, continuously working on herself, and Tamra is not. Tamra isn't taking any accountability for any of this.
No, none. And Shannon never brought any of this information out.
Nope.
It was all Tamra. It was all Tamra doing it. And the interesting thing is, I don't know if you heard this. I'm not sure which podcast or who they were interviewing. It was the two Eds were interviewing. I don't remember who they were interviewing. But whoever it was, Tamra's Eddie said that he's still friends with David Bador.
Really?
Yes. It was what's his name? It was John Fuda. It was John Fuda's interview.
I think I do remember. Yeah, because I definitely listened to that interview.
Yes.
I think I remember him saying that.
I said to myself, that is very interesting, because John was asking, Eddie was saying, God, you guys in, New Jersey, your husbands are really close and you have fun. We would like to do that. And John said, well, who do you hang out with? He goes, really, the only one I really talk to is David Bador and Terry Dubrow.
Mm-hmm. That was interesting.
Right?
Yeah, because listen, the worse Shannon looks, the better David looks, which I would hope by now David isn't like that, but it doesn't sound like they're co-parenting very well. So he must still.
No.
But,
come on.
If he's hanging out with Eddie, then that's another reason for Tamra to be stirring all this shit up about Shannon.
Yes.
It's
yes,
just
it
not
is.
a good look, Tamra. And then poor Shannon gets up and leaves her own birthday lunch.
I know. Just as the cake was coming out.
As the cake was coming out. And I didn't like how Emily started laughing when they brought Shannon's cake out and Shannon was leaving. I thought that was a little mean girl-ish. And that's, I don't like that from Emily.
I think sometimes Emily gets wrapped up in the whole situation.
I do too. And I think Tamra brings out a very bad side of her.
But you know what happened that I really didn't like is that Tamra blew out the candles.
I didn't even notice that.
Tamra blew out Shannon's candles.
Ridiculous.
I mean, that was ridiculous. It really was.
Yeah, I'm just not, it's just getting very Jersey-ish now. I'm not enjoying it. It's just a lot of, like I said, middle school bullshit with the talking behind each other's back. And now Tamra bringing all this shit out. That was years ago. I don't know.
No, I totally agree. I'm over
I'm
it.
glad next week's the season finale. Have you heard the Brav Bros? I haven't really listened to any of their podcasts, but I have seen clips on Instagram. But I know I go through this every time, which is the one who's in recovery. Steele?
Yeah.
Okay. Steele is coming hard for Tamra. Like,
No, he never liked Tamra, right?
well, more so now because of how she keeps calling, just like Gina saying, like,
Right.
she keeps calling her an alcoholic. And he's like, first of all, you clearly have your own dysfunctional relationship with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, it's not for you to determine who is an alcoholic and who is not. He's got problems.
I mean, calling her drunk on this last drunk. You're a drunk. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yep.
I just saw something on, I think it was Instagram, where Vicky was talking. She's on, there's this show with like reality TV people. I have to find it. Where
The
she was
Dark
talking.
Side or something?
Yes. Did you see
I haven't
it?
seen it, but I heard of it. I didn't watch it yet.
So she was talking about how she will never forgive Bravo what production did when her mom passed away. And when she explained the whole thing, I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
I started reading it, but I didn't finish it. Basically, what Brianna was trying to get in touch with her and they wouldn't let her answer her phone.
Brianna was trying to call her for an hour and she was doing a scene. It was at Shannon's house. They were at Shannon's
They were
house.
playing a bunco or something, right?
They were doing something at Shannon's house. And so Brianna called production and production got everything set up and all lit in the other room to bring Vicky in there to tell her. So they knew for an hour and they wanted to get it set up to film it.
Yeah.
And
she fell to the ground. I'll never forget that. That was so sad. She fell to the ground.
Yes, that's horrific. That is horrific. I don't know why she'd ever go back on that show, to be quite honest with you, after that.
I agree with you.
I was very surprised to hear that.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Well, next week's the season finale. Alleluia. But I'm sure we're getting a 3-part reunion. Were you the one who told me? Somebody told me they read something where Alexis is like unhinged at the reunion.
Well, Andy said that. Yeah, so we'll wait and see what happens.
We sure will.
Until next time, thank you for watching and listening to We Why Whenever. Please like us, give us 5-star reviews, and share with your friends. Bye.
Bye.